there is something I want to mention for the pilots listening to this, especially the one that inspired to be commercial pilots. When I was a CFI and you fly every day and it's 100 degrees, you're like, I just did another pattern and another pattern. And your students are like showing up full energy. Let's go do 10 touch and goes. And you're like, this is the 5th time I'm going for 10 touch and goes today. And then you're like, I can't wait until I fly a jet. And then you go fly a jet. And you're like, I can't believe I have to fall asleep on the couch at the FBO for the next 3 hours and eat again fast food. And then you get to the airline and you have an 8 hours flight where you turn on the autopilot and you're fighting your life not to fall asleep. There is always something nicer and faster and better paid. And something that I regret throughout my flight training, and I put a giant emphasis with my students, and we had it before your solo cross country, and have fun. Embrace the journey. Nobody becomes a pilot because they don't like it. People go become an accountant. Oh, they get a lawyer, I can make money. They become a medical doctor for different reasons. Nobody becomes a pilot because they don't like it, because somebody forced them to. I know like maybe one scenario or two, but it usually doesn't last very long. You do it out of passion. Don't let flight training become a task that you hate, another way to mark a check. And I had a hard time before I moved to the US, where I was contemplating whether I want to take this career because I had my business, but I knew the US has a better market. And I had a flight instructor who was going through divorce and he had 2 kids and didn't really get to see them. And I asked him, like, how can you fly when you have so many things like dwelling on you and like, how do you have the capacity to deal with that? And he's like, what do you mean? Flying is my fun. Flying is my therapy. Flying is what keeps me going and doing that. And he said, just because you've been through so much flight training, you forgot that you actually like it. So I say, yes, it might be a few extra $100. Go take the airplane. Go fly to a new airport. Go somewhere new. Join a friend on the flight. Even if you can't log the flight, experience it. I can tell you, some of the experiences we'll talk about later are things I've done for fun. And for me, getting my tailwheel endorsement was so much fun. I had a blast, and we've been talking about it to get our seaplane rating, because sometimes we forget why we're doing it. And those are the rare flights. It's not the flights where you flew to the lowest minimums, and it's not the strongest wind that you landed. It's those little experiences that remind you why you're doing it and how much fun and how much. Also, look at you like 2 years ago. If I told you you'd be flying an airplane with your wife, you'd be like, that's amazing. That's so much fun. And if you told me 5 years ago, I'm going to fly a jet in the US, I'm going to fly to New York City, amazing. I'm going to get paid more than $20 an hour, amazing. But sometimes being a pilot, part of being a pilot is complaining, and that's fine. But just remember, there's always a positive in this journey. You know, even when my scheduling calls me 3 a.m. and I curse them in 5 different languages, I say, I'm going to save somebody's life today. I get to do the job that I like. I like flying airplanes. It's a blessing. I'm very fortunate to do this and enjoy this. You're going to see so many grumpy pilots. And you're like, but nobody's forcing you. Why are you grumpy?
Right.
Or grumpy dispatchers.
100%.
And we're not throwing shade, but we both know the grumpy dispatchers. And if any of my students see this, you can comment the names down below. Don't be shy. Don't be shy.